Health presentation: the formation of cancer cells. According to WebMD, diet does not cause ulcerative colitis, but some foods may make your symptoms worse. It's best to avoid dairy, fatty foods, and foods with too much fiber, which can trigger diarrhea. It can help to keep a journal of what you eat and any symptoms you have. Look for links between what you eat and how you feel so you can learn to avoid triggers. If you lose a lot of weight, you may need to work with a dietitian to come up with a healthy diet. This statement is partly true. Different types of food may not cause ulcerative colitis, but a life filled with negative emotions can. Anxiety, fretting, and anger can cause many health problems, including ulcerative colitis. Instead, discipline your mind to dwell on the positive. Don't ignore trouble or difficulties, but don't spend all your time thinking about them either. The Bible says in Psalm 37, verses 1 and 2, "Do not fret because of evildoers, nor be envious of the workers of iniquity." That's the negative. "For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb." That's the positive. And Psalm 37, verses 7 and 8 says, "Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of he who prospers in his way, because of the man who brings wicked schemes to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Do not fret, it only causes harm." In Matthew 6:37, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble." Finally, Psalm 55, verse 22, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he shall sustain you. He shall never permit the righteous to be moved." Now let's take a look at a colon in a state of irritation. These are pictures of a colon suffering from indigestion, bloating, and ulcers. When food is not properly eliminated, it causes all kinds of irritation and disease inside our bodies. Food is not the only source of these sicknesses. Remember what we said above about envy, fretting, and anger. These are not always discussed as causes of physical irritation or sickness, because we tend to believe that only tangible things like food can harm our bodies. The number one ailment in prison is ulcers. Jay Kurdish assisted a doctor in curing some inmates to illustrate this point. All the prisoners were suffering from stomach problems and ulcers to one degree or another. Regret was one of the largest contributing factors to their condition. We all experience regret and other negative emotions in our lives. Remember again the passages above. Thinking of God and his everlasting goodness is one of the keys to good health. In fact, when Jesus said, "Do not worry," he was giving a command. So, while every day may have trouble, call this command to mind and focus your attention on the only one who can also command the future. How do diseases form inside the body? Through undigested food particles that become waste materials. And what are these waste materials in the body? Waste materials can accumulate for many years. They have been stored by the blood to keep them away from the digestive tract. The stomach, small intestine, and colon must be free from this waste material. Here's an illustration. When there is an accident on a main highway, the authorities will move the vehicles involved off to the side of the road to get the traffic going again. Then, once the accident has been investigated, the vehicles can be moved again, perhaps to a wrecking yard or some other spot, so that they don't cause further trouble. The blood does the same thing in our bodies. So what is the purpose of blood? Blood is the transporter in our bodies. Blood carries material, whether it's good or bad, throughout the body. Good materials are distributed where they are needed, and bad materials are taken to where they can be eliminated. Blood is vital to our system, as important as a highway is to a big city. Why do we get sick? It's possible, even easy, to eat poorly throughout our lives without even knowing it. Food that is eaten but not eliminated becomes waste material. It can rot, putrefy, and create toxic gases. When these waste materials create a blockage in the stomach, small intestine, and colon, the blood will transport them to cavities in our body where there is space for these waste materials. Remember, these waste materials are rotting, putrefying, and creating toxic gases. The longer we eat poorly, the more of these materials are being moved to these places all over our bodies every day. When we are young, antibodies prevent many illnesses that might be caused by these waste materials. The blood moves these waste materials to keep the intestinal tract free of blockage. If the blockage cannot be removed or stored somewhere, a small hole is bored in the middle so that other new material can move through it. What will happen to the waste material that is stored all over the body? Clumps of waste material can become so big that they can damage the organ they are stored next to. When this happens, we get sick. When the clumping happens in the brain, you have headaches. Ultimately, they may become so big the result is brain cancer. If the same thing happens in the kidney, you can get kidney cancer, or if it's in the thyroid, thyroid cancer can result, or in the ovaries and so on. All of this means that cancer cells or tumors can form anywhere in the body because waste material is stored in many places in the body. So if the doctors remove a tumor in the brain, for instance, where do you think it will grow next? There is no clear answer to that question. That is why we have to find another way to eliminate the tumor and cancer-causing waste materials in our bodies. How do we prevent these cancers from forming, or how do we eliminate them? Drink fresh juice, eat vegetables, exercise, and clean your colon. Juice and vegetables have properties that can eliminate cancer cells, and exercise speeds the peristaltic movement for the waste material to move to the colon for elimination. Finally, colon irrigation moves waste materials from the colon to the rectum for elimination.